Congratulations.
Thanks.
Your first feature film as a leading lady. Why did you choose this script?
I chose the script because I had never seen anything like it. It highlights a relationship between an Asian American girl and her grandma. My mom passed when I was 4 years old. I was raised by my grandma. And so it seemed very specific to like my personal story. And at the time, you know, I've done mostly comedies. But the fact that it was a drama, the fact that it was in Chinese, you know, these things, I was like, you know what? Those are obstacles, but I'll get over them. I have to do this movie. You know, it had to be done. Yeah.
And talking about Mandarin, it's not an easy language to learn.
No, it's not.
Can you talk about the training and the learning? Yeah.
So I didn't grow up in a Chinese-speaking household. My grandma's from Beijing. My grandpa was from Guangzhou. But they didn't teach me a lick. And so, you know, I learned a little bit going when I studied there in Beijing, like when I was in college. And then going back, before I wanted the role so bad that during the self-tape I had to speak Chinese. So I went to the new school and I found an international student, and she was from northern China, and we studied 6 weeks, like intensive studying, 6 hours a day, like studying for the self-tape. And then when I went to China, it was a little rough at first, but then in Changchun there's not a lot of English speakers, so it's like survival. You gotta learn a little bit. So it's not easy though.
It's quite a great ensemble.
Yeah.
I know it's not a huge budget film that you can have rehearsal times, but how fast did the cast come together on set?
Well, yeah, I think once everyone was casted and we were on set together, it was no question. We already felt like a family. It was almost like meeting an extended family that you'd never met before, but knowing that you have this connection. And I think that my first immediate bonds were obviously with Tai Ma, because he was the only other Asian American. And then I really got close with teacher Zhao and my mom, Diana. Diana really took care of me. Like when I got sick, she took care of me. And so I really do feel like they were my family.
Did you feel like there's heavy chip on your shoulder to play Lulu, who's also directing, to portray her life story on screen?
I maybe was a little worried about that in the beginning, but then I actually had a conversation with Lulu about like what Billy was, and Lulu was always very receptive to like any changes. I like if I would say like I think Billy would do this, Lulu would say, well, of course. Like she never fought me on those things, because I think at the end of the day, Billy is not me nor Lulu. She is a vessel for the Asian American girl, someone who is dealing with loss and has to go, you know, back home, you know. So I think that in that way she's played very neutral. Yeah.
Last question. What's the biggest takeaway from your experience shooting in China and working on the film?
I think it's my biggest takeaway is learning a larger sense of the word respect and understanding. When I first came into this movie, I didn't understand the lie. I never practiced it. I'm American. But as I was in China, the lie and the reasoning behind it became more clear. It's that it's all out of love. It's a form of unconditional love. And when I realized that, you start to realize the things that go into our understandings of love, of grief, of loss, of all those things. And I think that I'm a little bit more open-minded to that.
Yeah. Thank you. Great.
Thanks.
Okay, gentlemen, you want to